All right, welcome to this short series. It's going to be rapid fire on the Czech Benoni. My main goal with this was I pulled a few games with some very light engine usage here in order to just show some overviews of the Czech Benoni. It's an opening I play occasionally, and one of my students is picking it up at the moment. So I thought, why not, hit the high notes, hit some of the major ideas, what you're looking for in the middle game. So let's dive right in. And keep in mind, the Benoni is not for the solid player, the ones that are faint of heart. Benoni literally means son of sorrow. So be ready to fight. And this is the typical structure. And the standard Benonis with e6 followed by e takes d5 and with fianchetto structures, we're going to be taking a look at the Czech Benoni, which is with e5. And we're going to get this typical closed pawn structure. So if d6, first and foremost, queen b6, and white's losing that pawn. So he can't break your structure that way, no worries. So knight c3, and as soon as we get e4, this is where I'd like to stop and really do like your basic overview of the position at this point. So I like to ask 4 questions when I'm in a position and I'm trying to create a plan. What is the most annoying move I can make? And typically I'm going to find tactics with that type of thinking. Secondly, I'm going to go with what part of the board should I be playing on? What exchanges I'm going to make is question number 3. And then where are the pawn levers? Because that can change the character of the position, and the combination, 3 of these questions we definitely need in this position at all times. So basic ideas. Since the center is locked, we're clearly going to be playing on the wings. So what part of the board? We're not quite sure yet, so we'll come back to that. So what trades do we want to make? Well, I know that since the pawn structure is locked, trading this bishop for this bishop is going to be a typical idea. It'll go bishop e7. This knight will get out of the way, typically via e8 after castling. And then we're going to see bishop g5 to try to trade off these b's. So that would be a desirable trade if we could make that trade based off the pawn structure. So that's a memory marker, something to keep in mind. Now, where are the pawn levers? Where are the places where we can change the character and nature of the position? f5 and b5 are those 2 breaks. So we're going to look at a couple of different plans at playing for b5, like knight a6, knight c7. That's an idea before playing a6. Or sometimes it's a6, b5 straight away, sacking a pawn to try to get open files, Binko Gambit or Volga Gambit style for play. And then on the other side, we're going to have some King's Indian type plans with the f5 break, and the pawn structures will be very similar. So let's just dive right in and see the f5 break in this game. And the way that I'm designing this series, it's basically the most popular lines down to side lines and less popular lines. So we're starting with video 1 with one of the more critical variations that really gives a synopsis of the main stuff you need to know when you get this pawn structure. We will be looking at the multiple pawn structures that arise in the Czech Benoni though. So moving forward, bishop e7, bishop d3, castles, and right here we have major memory marker that's going to help us with the plan. Knight e8, we're working on f5, and it's a dual purpose memory marker here. Starts the plan for black, giving 2 ideas. 1, what exchanges should I be making? I'm looking, if he lets me, I'm looking to make this plan in most positions. Here, because of the knight's location on e2, I would hesitate because f4, pawn takes, knight takes. I'm not quite sure that that's going to be the absolute best moment. So if he played something like knight g3 though, bishop g5 would definitely be an excellent move because f4 would no longer be a possibility that would be effective. But it's an idea we need to be watching out for. And then question number 2, pawn lever, f5. So let's see how black gets the most out of his position here. After castles, g6. And you go, well, that doesn't look right because after bishop h6, he's tickling on the rook. The reroute of the knight is very powerful and a huge thematic picture you need to have in your mind of what you're going for in this position. The knight on g7, pawn on g6, bishop on c8, and rook on f8 are all in support of this f5 plan. Now keep in mind, if white doesn't play a critical move here, we're going to have the ability to play bishop g5. And that's what we're wanting at this point, because if our queen could get to g5, it's already lined up with white's king, starting and helping with our attack, and it's also one more person helping with the f5 break to get the ball rolling with our attack on this side of the board. Queen c2 was played in the game, overprotecting f5, but it misses this bishop g5 idea, and black should already have equality here. Takes, takes. a3, white's trying to get play on this side. And there are many different plans here for black. In the main game, he went with bishop g4, which I'm not the most keen on, and he decided to trade off strong bishop and attacker. But it turned out okay for him. He gets in f5, the thematic break. And after bishop e2, f4, black's already got a little bit of pull here. In the main game, white went queen d3, and then black pitched most of his edge with knight h5. With a little bit of analysis, I found that queen h4 is annoying, getting ready for some rook lifts and stuff. And then we're able to relocate to h6 to keep tension on the f4 square. And also, with our queen on h6, it's watching f4 and d6. No weaknesses, no problems. Like I said, b6, shoring it up, equal position. Rook a e8, and this is just a fine position. This would be what I would recommend. I want to show the main game, though. I mean, white's already +2 here, but it just goes to show the nature of this type of position, much like King's Indians, that you can be losing and be playing aggressively, and your opponent can miss something and just lose on the spot. So b4 was played, and much of the advantage went away very quickly there. Grab, grab. Now, we're looking to just push pawns and get any type of attack over here, maybe get a rook to the open file. Very, very, very important. And as soon as this is played, knight a4, it goes from white being +2 to black being up a piece in evaluation. e4, and rook f7 getting ready to swing. And it's just over. -10 here, guys. It's disgusting. Knight g4. He's trying to defend, but e3. Oh, can't even contain myself. Pawn takes, f3. We needed for the e3 pawn sack to happen to disallow the trade of queens when f3 takes place. g3 just didn't do it, and after knight takes g3, we have a bit of the forced mate sauce. The best he's got is this, and that's going to be mate. I do want to come back before stopping this video that a key moment in the game happened with f5 that I feel that I have verbal diarrhea from time to time and a lot of words come out, but I will miss key moments to discuss. f5 is an absolute critical moment because when takes, this is where you have the opportunity to go wrong. A lot of people would go, well, that's a great d4 square. I'm going to take with the knight. But the dynamic potential of the pawns, it's much better to take with the g-pawn here. So that's a major memory marker. So you have the ability to use the open g-file for this attack against the white king. And that's where we're going to end the first video. Hopefully you stay with us for the rest of this series and we'll have some fun with it.